What if I told you that being smart isn't really about having all the right answers right away? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at something different, something quieter. We're going to explore the hidden architecture of intelligence, all that incredible work your mind does when nobody's watching.
I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head, right? We're so trained to think intelligence is about performance, like acing a test or being the first to shout out an answer. But what if it's more about the subtle internal process, that mental engine that's always running in the background, even when you're not trying to prove anything to anyone?
So let's step away from this idea of just the right answer for a second. I want to ask you a few questions. Just think to yourself, see if any of these feel a little familiar. Like, have you ever been in a conversation or maybe watching a movie and you see these little connections that just fly over everyone else's heads? It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's that quiet feeling of noticing the hidden blueprint of things. It's like seeing how a tiny detail in chapter 1 is totally going to predict the ending. Or how about this one? Maybe your first instinct is to jump on an easy answer, but then something inside you just kind of pushes back. You start asking yourself, wait, is that really true? What piece of the puzzle am I not seeing here? It's almost like you have a little private investigator living inside your own brain. And, okay, last one. Has this ever happened to you? You're in a meeting, someone asks a tough question, and nothing. You don't have the answer. But hours later, maybe you're in the shower or out for a walk, the perfect, most elegant solution just pops into your head. That's because your brain was working on it the whole time, completely behind the scenes. Well, if any of those questions made you nod your head even a little bit, then what you're experiencing actually has a name. Let's put a label on this powerful and frankly often unseen mental process. And here it is. We call it silent intelligence. And I want you to notice the key words here. The focus is on the process, not the performance. This isn't about how fast you can solve a riddle in front of a crowd. It's about how you reflect, how you connect ideas, and how you refine your thoughts all on your own. It's the real intellectual heavy lifting that happens in the quiet moments. This chart just lays it out so clearly. Think about it. So much of our world, our schools, our jobs, they reward what we could call performance intelligence. Be quick, be accurate, be visible. But silent intelligence, that values something totally different. It values depth, reflection, the whole journey of thinking itself. You could almost say one is a public sprint and the other is a private marathon that happens entirely inside your head.
So how do you know if this is you? You're probably wondering, do I have this? Well, let's break down a couple of the most common signs that you might just have a high degree of silent intelligence.
Okay, the first big one is a real knack for pattern recognition. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier, that ability to see the hidden threads connecting ideas that seem totally unrelated on the surface. People who are strong in this, they often say things like, this reminds me of, and then they'll draw this brilliant line between, say, a current business problem and something that happened in ancient history, and suddenly, everyone in the room sees the problem in a whole new light. And the second sign is something called inquisitive self-talk. Now, this is not just doubting yourself. It's way more productive than that. It's this active internal conversation where you're constantly challenging your own assumptions. You're always asking why and what if about your own thoughts. Honestly, it is the engine of deep critical thinking, and it's a process that nobody else ever gets to see. Okay, so we've got a name for it, we know some of the signs, but so what? What's the big deal? Why does putting a name to this quiet form of intelligence actually matter out here in the real world? Well, here's the crucial takeaway. When we recognize and value silent intelligence, we're validating all those people who think differently, who might not be the fastest to raise their hand. We start to encourage deeper, more reflective thought for everyone, not just quick answers. And that's huge. It helps us move our idea of smart way beyond just grades and test scores, and it finally gives credit to that unseen internal work that is so often the real driver behind all innovation. So I'm just going to leave you with this one thought to chew on. In a world that so often celebrates the loudest voice and the fastest answer, what kind of quiet, incredible genius are we missing out on? It's something worth thinking about.